What's up, everybody? Welcome to Correlation Nation, where we take as many stats as you could think of. I mean, I have a whole formula that uses, well, I won't get into all the specifics of it, but I've created spreadsheets for each individual player. So basically, I have a roster, so each team individually with their roster, and then I have projections for their, the things that I focus on the most would be points, rebounds, but we do have steals, blocks, assists, but in my opinion, I think a lot of those things are extremely volatile. But anyways, I'm going to dedicate this page, at least now, to trying to become a profitable bettor. The thing that I have an issue with is, like I said, I compile all these statistics. I take into consideration their matchup as a team, but also DVP. And with all this information, I try to come up with projections, or at least my favorite bets, player props. And for the most part, a lot of the work is actually quite good. My issue is I tend to be just a complete degenerate. I bet all these crazy parlays, and because of this, I'm just not profitable. So let's go ahead and dive right into today's slate. A lot of the stuff that I built, what was good, what was bad. What I'm trying to do is, again, this is a road to becoming profitable bettor. And so I'm going to try to identify where we're fucking up, basically, because we gotta figure this out. So I'm going to go to BetMGM. This is where I'm placed all my bets today. I'm aware I don't have much money in there. I try not to bet a lot of money. I try to literally just do like 50-cent bets. But again, I focus on like literally building all these crazy parlays that would net me a lot of money if they paid out. But I'm trying to get a little bit better. I play some straight stuff just to try to get my money back. But I got to try to at least double every day. So anyways, like I said, let's dive right into this. What I want to do is I'm going to go to my settled stuff, and we're going to go through this, like this 15-leg parlay right here. You can see that, like, Alex Sarr, extremely volatile play right off the bat. And D'Angelo Russell 3-pointers made. He'd been hitting them recently, but again, I should be able to identify that he doesn't have a long track record of doing that in Brooklyn. And I think just throughout his career, he's been pretty streaky shooter. So, in my opinion, it wasn't the worst bet, but I probably shouldn't have played it as much as I did. Obviously, he was very viable to getting there. Plus 115. It's not terrible odds. I mean, it is a good bet, but again, I have to be able to identify that he's a streaky shooter. So, and then the other one's Anthony Edwards, 3-pointers. It's not great odds. I just kind of threw it in there. All these aren't done yet. But, as we go through these, you'll see some of these I play. These are like Daniel Gafford, 25-plus points. Honestly, I have, and let me pull up my notes, because this is going to help us just identify like what I had kind of wrote down after going through all my work. So, I have Kyrie at 20 to 30 points. Obviously, that's a huge window. But, I'm going to play a lot of the lower stuff. I'm typically looking for a floor, but I want to play a ceiling as well. Obviously Kyrie can easily hit 20 and easily go over 30. What happened today, unfortunately, was that it looks like Klay Thompson just caught fire in the beginning of the game, hit a bunch of threes, and it just totally crushed a lot of the stuff that we were doing. I had ATL's point guard. He was in a good DVP situation. Overall, I would say the matchup wasn't the strongest, just because Minnesota's pretty stout defensively, but again, they give up a lot of points to the point guard position. But anytime you got a backup, that's going to be volatile play. Yeah, it's live, but you have to, again, you want to identify these things. So I was able to identify that. I didn't play it, but let's pull it up in DraftKings just to see. I think that point guard actually played fairly well. So we're looking for, I actually don't even know who started, which might be a better thing to look at. Oh, hell, me doing this, I'm just going to drag this home. He didn't start. I don't think he started at point guard. Let's pull it up and see if we can find who started for Atlanta, right? Sorry. So yeah, it was Wallace, which is I'm not sure what his name is. He's the brother of the guard that plays for Oklahoma City. I can't think what his name is, but nonetheless, he might not even be listed as a point guard. He might be listed as like a shooting guard. Yeah, there he is, Keaton Wallace. And look, he actually did have a good overall game, not a ton of points, but, you probably could have got a line on that, 13 points. I mean, you probably could have got it. Are you going to play it? I don't know. I mean, like I said, I wrote it down. I didn't play it, not a single time. But nonetheless, it's something that I just want to point out that it's in the work, I really think that the statistics are going to back you. You just got to be able to weed out all the nonsense. Westbrook, 10 points. He got there. I had the three-pointer with a question mark, mostly because he's not a super strong three-point shooter, and you really don't know how many opportunities he's even going to get or even take. But, again, he's been hitting threes, and you're going to get a great line on it. And so even though it's not something I want to play a whole lot of, I might throw it in here and there. But again, that's something that, question mark identified already right away. You don't want to play that a whole lot. Really, like once or twice, that's it, And, again, maybe tell me if I'm wrong, because I probably am. That's probably why I'm not a very profitable bettor. But maybe that's something I just want to stay away from altogether. Dame, 20 to 25 points, 3 to 4 threes. This actually cashed. I know that he scored over 30 points. He hit at least 3 threes. I'm not sure where I played it at, and so we will pull that up. But so yeah, no, 35, and he got to the 4 as well. So again, the work shows it. You got to be careful. Utah's been playing a little bit better lately, but they're kind of depleted, and so it is a volatile bet, just simply based off the fact that they're playing against an unmanned team. But so it's not something you probably want to play a ton of. But I did play. I probably played it way more than I should have. But luckily it hit. It wasn't just that. It was also Giannis. I played Giannis at, I had him 25 to 30 points, which, yeah, I understand 25 is a low number for him. But again, I want high probability of hit. And he definitely got there. He crushed as well. So, we'll get to that in a minute. Morant, 1 3-pointer. I have that's volatile play. D'Lo right here. I got the 3 to 4 threes. Again, that's something he was hitting. I did not even identify this as I was doing the work. I just, he's been hitting it. He's in a new situation. And I played it way too much. It crushed. Here in a little bit, once we actually get back to the bets, you're going to see that these 3-point plays is really what crushed me tonight. LaMelo, 20 to 25 points. He ended up getting injured. I was able to identify at a later point after taking these notes that LaMelo is not something I wanted to play a ton of. So even though I did play him, I was able to remove him from a lot of my bets at a later point. And so even as I was building, I identified I don't want too much of this guy in there, and we removed him from a lot of the bets that I was parlaying up. Now, Poole, 3-pointers. This is another one that I think it crushed me. I don't think he got there. I think he only had 2, but maybe he did get to 3. We had some really good plays tonight, and then some not so good ones. I must have gone right by him. Where's he at? Is he even gonna be? I'm probably just overlooking him. There he is. He didn't get to the 20 points, but I actually didn't play it not a single time, and he did get to 3-pointers. So that hit. But again, this game would have been a totally different outlook if Clay wouldn't have just he kind of killed it for me, to be honest. But whatever, good for him. I like Clay I want to see him do well and all. So even though it kind of messed up the bets I had, I'm not too mad about it. Duncan Robinson, that is, 2 to 3 3-pointers. I think I played him a lot more at 3, just simply because it was a better line. Did play it, and luckily he got there towards the end, I think. And I think he went into like double overtime. So I had him as well as Bam at like 10 rebounds. And Bam had been getting good rebounds. And he was at like 8 going into like double overtime. And I was, I wouldn't say I was really sweating it out necessarily, because a lot of my stuff, I had already things that kind of messed up my parlays. But yeah. Nonetheless, he did end up getting there, but it did take him 2 or double overtime to get there. So Malik Beasley, 15 to 20 points. Obviously, I got him at 15 points with a really good line, and I had 3 to 5 threes. He actually hit 5 threes, and he got like, I think, 19 points. So again, this works great. Didn't play the 20-point line. Played him closer to like 15, 16, and he got there all day. And I opted not to play. So when I was writing this up, I seen the points prop, but I was a little bit worried of the matchup because ATL was going into the game pretty short-handed. And because of that, I strayed away from the points prop and played the 3-point prop. And the points prop, you wouldn't have got at a very good line, at the low 20s. But he didn't get the 3. He ended up getting 2 3-pointers, and that was one that kind of hurt me. Norman, I think that game's still going right now, so we'll just have to see. Asar, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, so excuse me if I'm butchering it, but Asar Thompson, I suppose. Anyways, I had him at a 10-point point prop. Now, this was a good bet. Well, it was a good line. I wouldn't say it was a good bet. I mean, I identified it as a volatile bet right off the bat. He's been getting there lately, but, kind of here and there. And, what his role on the game is not necessarily. He's more of a gritty player right now. He's not, his brother on Houston is definitely getting a lot more run offensively, putting up a lot more shots and whatnot. But, that's not where he's at yet. That's not where he's at in his development. So he is definitely more of a gritty player, doing a lot of the dirty stuff. And I just thought, if we're going to get good odds on it, take a shot. But it's something I only played, once or twice. I didn't play much of it. That's RJ Barrett, 15 to 20 points. I'm not sure what he did because I didn't play his points prop at all. I played his rebound prop, I think 5 rebounds. He did get there. I think he got like 6. And we'll see what he did points-wise. Again, I didn't play it. Levine, 25 points, 2 threes. He got the 2 threes. He got to 5 threes, I believe, late in the game. But he only got like 21 points, so he fell short. That was another one that kind of hurt me. I played too much of it. Randall, 15 to 20 points. That's Julius Randle. I had him marked as a volatile play. I think that was because they were going against New York, if I remember right. Yeah, they were. And the only reason I did that was actually just because New York's overall pretty good defense, unless you're playing like a guard, and even that's hit or miss, I would say. But that's the only reason it was volatile, because DVP wise and based off like his production and everything, 15 points was a very highlight, or like it was a very high probability play, and he did get there. Now Greek, so that's Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mentioned this early, 25 to 30 points. He went over 30 points, so he got there. Mobley, he was coming back from injury. I think he played the last game, but that was concerning me. I didn't really know where he was going to be following his minutes, and I also didn't know how he was going to play, like what his production was going to be, just being that he's just coming back. So that was wrote up as a volatile play as well. Jaren Jackson Jr., I might have this mixed up because Jaren Jackson Jr. might have been going against New York, so I might have those mixed up. But anyways, 20 points. I think he had his line set at 20.5, and he did get to 21, I believe. So again, another good play. We did play it. LeBron, 20 points. He got there. AD, 20 to 30 points. I did play the 30-point prop, and he crushed. He was in a great matchup. These guys were lucky that Charlotte was somehow able to stick with them the entire game, basically, and gave them a run for their money. And so because of that, they still got pretty good minutes. And, AD put up huge numbers. Zubac still playing. He got there. Gafford, so I had the 12 to 25. Obviously, I feel like his numbers were a little bit juiced because if I could have played him at, 12, 13, something like that at a reasonable line, I definitely would have. But, I think he had his line juiced to like 16, which he still got there. I'm pretty sure he still got there, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. And so I just took a shot at the higher point prop. It was like plus 500 or 600. So, and I thought there was using a phenomenal matchup. Honestly, had Clay not done it, I think he would have got there. I really did. Because let's pull him up just real quick, just for reference. Look, Zubac is having an insane game right now. So here's Gafford, 24 minutes, he had 18 and 8, 5 blocks. And that's in 24 minutes. So if he could have got, I don't know, he doesn't play a ton of minutes usually. So let's pull up his game log. I knew I was kind of reaching, but yeah, I mean, he played 33, 34. Lively's out. So, I mean, that's kind of where I was looking to say he has an opportunity to get the minutes, and Clay just kind of crushed our dreams on that one. Duran, it's not something I was going to play a ton of just because, he's not like a number one option, but I do think he got there. Yeah, he got 12 points. So he didn't get to the 15, but I would have never played that anyways. I just knew it was possible. But you could have probably got a good line on him at, 10, 11, maybe even 12. Sorry, I'm not even sure what this dude's first name is, to be honest with you. But he gets to the 10, 11 mark pretty consistently. And usually the line's not terrible, so I played it. But the game just didn't go the way we had hoped, so that didn't pan out for us. And then the Gafford, 10 to 15 rebounds. I had the rebounds highlighted because I knew that this was a volatile play. Anthony Davis, 10 to 13 rebounds. Statistically, career-wise, AD is going to fall around like a 10 rebound per 36 number-ish. And so, but because he's been playing, like exceeding those career averages, and he was in a phenomenal matchup, that's why I was willing to play him as high as 13. Nick Richards, 10 rebounds. I played this way too much. It's clearly in my work that it's volatile. I have the whole thing highlighted, and I think I just continue to play it. He could still get there because he had, I think, 7 rebounds around the third quarter, but he had 4 fouls as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. Nikola Jokic, 10 to 12 rebounds. I'm pretty sure he did that. Sabonis over 13 rebounds. He went over like 20, I think. And then you got Giannis again, 11 to 13 rebounds. Played him at both. You get a pretty, I think this line set at 13. And so I felt pretty good about it. So I did play that. And then, like I said earlier, Bam Adebayo, 10 rebounds. He did get there, but that was just by pure luck, I think, because two or double overtime and barely got there. Tatum, I had him at plus 7 rebounds. Typically, he's not a terrible rebound. He was in a good spot. Going against Houston, they're not a great rebounding team. But, man, they're just so gritty. Tatum got close. I think he got to 6. Fell just short. I didn't play anything over 7. I was too scared to play Tatum at anything over 7. LeBron rebound, I didn't play any of it, but he was in a good matchup. PJ Washington, plus 7 rebounds. He went over that. I think I got like 9 or 10. I did play it at 7 because I got a pretty good line there. Jaylen Brown, 5 rebounds. He's hit or miss. He's not a super consistent rebounder. Those are the things you got to be careful with. And it kind of kicked my butt because, again, it's another thing I probably played more than I should. And honestly, I think he had his line set at 5.5. Great matchup. And I just, these are one of these things that it just goes over my head. I start getting caught up in the numbers. My biggest issue with all this stuff is actually just constantly, or I wouldn't say constantly, but regularly trying to process all this information in a reasonable amount of time, because the issue is that the starting lineups, I mean, you never know what they're going to be. So anyways, Trey Murphy, 4 rebounds. You're not really wanting to play a rebound prop on this guy typically, but he got there. He got like 7 rebounds, so I didn't play it, but he got there. And then RJ Barrett, 5 rebounds. He got there. Amen Thompson, I had him at plus 7 rebounds, and I played him at 10. So he did get there, and now we're going to hop over and just kind of go through the work together, and again, just really see where we messed up. All right, so sorry, the 10 points, we already seen that, and then D'Angelo Russell, kind of touched on that a bit. Anthony Edwards, like I said, D'Lo, man, I just played way too much of that, and then Anthony Edwards as well. And that was a fairly, the Hawks Minnesota was still, well, I want to say it was like relatively competitive, maybe not like super competitive, but the Hawks stayed close enough that these guys still got pretty good run. We'll pull that up real quick because it does matter. Yeah, 35 minutes. I mean, I'm not sure how many threes he put up. He's been shooting a ton of threes, but one of the things that I need to take a mental note of is to really look at the landscape of each matchup, because I don't want to chase 3-point props or point props on guys that are not going to be in a competitive game too much, you know what I mean? Obviously, sometimes the matchup just says play him. I mean, and he could have got there, so I mean, I'm not like overly upset that it didn't hit, but it's just one of those things that if I didn't play it as much as I did, then I still leave myself the opportunity to hit some of these builds, and unfortunately, I just played too much of it, and then it crushes me. So again, not the worst bet. It just something that kind of bit me in the butt. Let's go like way back, because I want to see some of these. You see, I played that Westbrook. Okay, so Nick Richards did not get there. Yeah, the foul touch. He just couldn't overcome the foul trouble, I suppose. Yeah, so that 25 plus points was plus 525. I'm going to go up here. All right. I mean, some of these lines were insane. I had 50-cent bets. It would be like over 200K. Okay, so that's from the other day. Yeah, I put some stuff together, and the only thing that didn't hit was that damn Trey Murphy prop, and that was a 17 leg parlay. That was 12, I guess, but I had one in here that was 17 legs. I thought I did. Anyways, nonetheless, you can see right here, I kind of started. I did play a lot of these games individually to try to keep myself from missing all of them. But like I said, I would have hit this one. LaMelo got hurt. I mean, there's not a lot I can do about that. Nick Richards played too much of that. You know, again, that's another situation where he is a pretty solid rebounder, but, like, let's be real. I need to be honest with myself because Zubac is a way better rebounder than this guy is. I mean, I'd have to look at the per 36, but I'm pretty sure Zubac is a much better rebounder. And so just the idea of that should have kept me away from the 10 rebounds. But, you know, when this guy's been going like 14, 15 rebounds for the past few games since he's been in Phoenix, I got lost in the numbers. I just get lost in these numbers. Yeah, there's the Tatum 7 rebounds. He didn't get there. And then there it is, the 5.5. That's where the other line set. Should have never played it. Not at all. LaVine, 25 points. Not the worst bet. He's kind of been getting there, but it didn't happen. I just thought going against Denver, I actually thought Denver would win that game. They ended up losing. I didn't watch it, but they ended up losing, and I thought that one of the easiest paths for them to score would be somewhere between like 3 and 4. And I didn't think 4 was going to put up much production. So that's kind of why I went with LaVine with 25 points. So I thought it was a good bet, but he didn't get there. You see, and then that one game kind of it hurts, you know. All right, so this is a 30-leg parlay, huge parlay. I try to play a lot of the lower ones originally, so you can see Gafford at 10 rebounds. Didn't get there. That really, him and Kyrie, I would say, had everything to do with Clay. Still wouldn't have hit because Anthony Edwards and Zach LaVine, LaMelo, Nick Richards. I mean, I got a lot of volatile stuff in here that, you know, Cade not getting there, honestly. I don't even know if I had Cade. Did I have Cade wrote up? I should have. He was in a great position. Maybe I didn't write it because he was just, going against Cleveland. Cleveland is not very strong defensively against the guard position, and he just kind of got to be the guy. I thought there was a high likelihood he could get to the 25, and I think he got to like 22, 23, and it just wasn't overly competitive. So because of that, I would say the minutes were cut a bit short. I want to pull it up if it's in here. So here it is. Yeah, I mean, he still got 33 minutes, but honestly, if it was a bit more competitive, he probably would have got, like upper 30s, I would say 30. And let's see what his game log is. But I'm going to guess he probably would have got more minutes. So yeah, you can see there's potential 38, 39, 37, 40. It's just they were down like 20 points. So unfortunately, that didn't happen. But again, that's not a terrible bet. I'm not real mad about it. I see where I messed up. It's just these volatile plays that even in my head, I know that, like, I was building and I'm like, the Tatum 7 rebounds, it was worrying me. And boy, I just put it in freaking everything. So I'm going to try to clean this up. I think my next line of move is I already have a lot of work that I go through each and every time I build. As I said, I have spreadsheets that are made up that have all these projections on them. It doesn't really have anything to do with matchups. It's just their own production, and it's based off that, and then a minutes projection. So then I color code that based off the opponents, so it's more just like a team defense, whether it's first points, first rebounds, basically very simple stuff. So I'll color code that, and then once I have all that done, I go through everything each team individually, and this is where I come up with my notes. As I go through each team's DVP, and I try to identify players that are in a very good position based off that DVP. I play a lot of that stuff, but then I also try to filter through that and weed it out and go, okay, let's use this, but then let's also use my spreadsheets and identify like the ones that are in really, really good matchups, not just individually, but from a team perspective as well. And then so I try to play those. But I think the next line, or the next move I need to make, is to really, like I said, after I create my notes, I need to go through each one of these plays individually and try to go like, try to just go like, what's their role? What's the likelihood of them getting this? Are they a very strong rebounder? What's the landscape of the game, their opponent? What's their roster look like? Because again, a depleted roster can always have a good game and keep the game close, right? But it's a lot less likely that they do that than getting blown out. Now, you can't predict it, right? But if you can identify that ahead of time, then you can prevent yourself from playing this way too much. And so this is something that I need to remind myself. And really, that's kind of why I'm trying to make a video, trying to educate you, talk myself through it, try to remind myself, take these notes and then just try to improve upon the work that we have and just really improve the process. And that way we can become profitable bettors. I ain't trying to spend all this time and energy and to lose. Nah, man, I'm here to win. You know what I mean? Just a stat head, been doing it for a very long time, and now I'm trying to use it to help myself, but also I'd like to share that information with others, because I think to myself all the time, if I share this information with other people and they built their own stuff with it, maybe they could be profitable. Because not everyone thinks alike. If you see these numbers and you're able to go, I don't want to play that. Yeah, it's a good line, but I don't want to play that. That guy, maybe you have a better concept of, what their role, that individual's role is on the team or something than I do. Because I have a very difficult time processing all this information in a timely fashion. That's my issue. I just get lost in it and I start playing stuff that I shouldn't. And then I look back and I'm kicking myself because it's in my notes. I'm like, man, I should have never played that. But nonetheless, we're on the path. We're on the road. We're going to get there. Profitable betting in the future. I can see it. We'll get there, guys. All right. Peace out.